Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We are coming at you from Palmetto State Park, and this is south and a little bit east of San Antonio. If you're coming across Interstate 10 from Houston, if you've been driving in Houston, you're going to need a place to rest, and this might be it. If you exit on Highway 183, it's 2 miles south of Interstate 10 and 2 miles west of little Highway 183. And it is a nice, smaller park.
Yes, this is our second visit to Palmetto. During our first one, we had some problems and we weren't here much at all.
We'll put a link to that video in case you're concerned about it, but both times we've stayed here, we've stayed in Site 24, and it is absolutely beautiful.
The prettiest site in the park.
Now, we need to tell you there are two separate camping loops. Sites 1 through 19 are electric sites, and then Site 20 through 40 are non-electric. There is a group site in there, and there is a cabin also on the non-electric side, except I believe they have electricity in the cabin.
Yeah.
But if you can get by without electricity, you get this little lake, and it is a lake that is contained within the state park. So once again, if you're here and you want to try fishing, you don't need a license, but that doesn't mean you're going to catch anything. But it is a beautiful location, and the San Marcos River actually separates the two camping loops, but there is a water crossing between the two on a trail. And speaking of trails, well, let's show you the camping first. And on the non-electric side, we also have the playground.
And this is one of the best playgrounds in Texas State Parks that we have seen.
And this has a heavy day use area on the weekends.
Yes.
I believe both times we've gotten here on a weekend, and the playground, the parking, there's overflow parking. That is one thing we want to say about these non-electric sites. There's smaller parking areas, but there is overflow parking for the day use area, and so that makes it kind of handy. We probably could have parked across in front of our RV, but there was a parking lot right across, and so both times we've been here, we've used that. But this is the prettier, in my opinion, the prettier side. The side with the electric has more trails.
But you can get to them from this side.
Yes, you can either go across a Park Road 11, or you can go across the low water crossing there at the little bridge. But the trails on the other side, if you're only going to do one,
I do Palmetto.
The Palmetto, it is 1/3 of a mile.
And it takes you by the water tower built. The water tower had a pump built by the CCC. And I can't remember what it gave water to in the 30s. Today it's used for the wetlands part of the park.
And it is 0.26 miles, and let me just tell you, you're really not going to have any elevation change on any of these trails. There are a few that have a little a little hill, but you're not. There was one little hill.
We're here at
and at the low water crossing, you do go down and back up. Sorry.
We're here at the end of February, and there are signs out on that side. Watch out for snakes. Folks, if you see snakes at the end of February, they're going to be so sluggish that it shouldn't be a problem.
But I asked the ranger, are there gators here? Because this looks like gator.
If you look up Palmetto State Park, it will tell you there are gators.
But that's in Louisiana. He said there are two different Palmetto State Parks. One's in Louisiana, one's in Texas. The one in Texas does not have gators. And he says they're asked that a lot. And so, once again, I want to just say, there have been people on the non-electric side. Okay, non-electric side currently, it's $13 a night. The electric sites are just 18,
Plus the entrance fee.
but they are full.
Yes.
I mean, trying to find reservations there. But the entrance fee, if you do not have a Texas State Park pass, for this park, I believe it's $3 per person. But one thing I was going to say is if you're making the drive across southern Texas from Houston across to El Paso, it would be a long day's drive to go from here to Balmorhea, but both of these parks are just off of Interstate 10.
Yes.
I think Balmorhea may be about 5 miles south, but it's a lot nicer than just a parking lot.
Yes.
So
And Balmorhea, if you do that anytime, shortly after this video is put up, call to check and see if they have camping available.
yeah, they didn't when we were there
They're
in
renovating the whole park.
September, October, but their goal was for this year. But you could check that out and see. But there is a little highway here. You can kind of see that bridge. You can tell how busy it's been. During evening time when people are coming home from work, you may hear some people.
In morning.
And morning.
Early morning.
People going to work. But it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's not bad. We rode our bikes on that to get to we rode the river trail, I think a couple of times, and then we rode the road a couple of times, and it's not been bad either
Tell them
time.
what we saw on the...
Okay, on our way back, okay, let me start off with this. You stop at the headquarters. Then as you leave the headquarters, the first road to your left is the non-electric camping. You go down a half a mile, it's the next road that turns to the left. That's the road that takes you back into the electric camping and the trails section. As we were coming back from that, we saw a little road that turned. Coming back, it was on the left. And so we decided to ride down there, and we rode down, and then it became a gravel road, and we just kept riding. And we went around, I guess we were down there a couple of miles.
Yeah.
Went around a curve, and a whole herd. They're herds?
there are a bunch of them.
Feral hogs. And it's shocking how many piglets. They were just little.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
And
fortunately, we were a good little distance from them, and I just said, stop. Mylena was in front, and I just said, stop, we're turning around. Don't want to mess with them. But they were not in the park. They were several miles from the park.
Just be aware of your surroundings anytime you camp.
But we'll say right now, there are very few people camping here. This is a Wednesday. The electric sites are almost all full. But when we were here before, it was closer to spring break, and every campsite everywhere was full. This was one that even as we were making this trip, we had to kind of switch some parks around in order to
get this site.
To get here. And so, the other thing we want to say about the non-electric sites is they are smaller. There are a couple of them. Look at this, I believe, site number 20. There were people in there with probably about a 25-foot travel trailer and their truck, and they just backed until their tires were at the stop, and they didn't unhitch. So they cleared that. I believe it's site 35 around here. It's a double park, but the one side is a lot longer. So there are a couple that will accommodate decent size, not giant RVs.
And
but
the state park is good about putting the length of the sites, and I'm guessing it's to the backstops.
Yes, yeah, because this one said we probably couldn't fit, and like I said, if we needed to, we could have parked the van across in front of it. But this is a beautiful park, and I will tell you that Palmetto Trail, I told Mylene I'm expecting a dinosaur to come walking through here. It just kind of has that feel. It's
the
neat.
palmettos are a beautiful plant that we haven't seen anywhere else in Texas.
And this side, the trail that goes around the lake is only a mile, I think. No, it's less than a mile. It's 0.7 of a mile.
But you can get off and go to the
It's beautiful though, and the headquarters. Yeah,
and the headquarters does not have a big store. They have ice cream. They have Cokes.
important things.
Important thing, Cokes, and they have a few T-shirts.
But you're less than 5 miles from a Buc-ee's
Yeah,
or a Love's.
Yeah.
From Interstate 10. So, and there are 2 big gas stations right at this exit. So, if you're ever in this area, this is somewhat unique.
it's
and
a great place to stop.
It's worth a stop, and
Site 24 is just gorgeous.
and I gotta tell you,
You can hear the water at night.
yeah, there's a little
Spring.
replica of a spring. The spring dried up, but the CCC built a replica kind of thing of it. And and the birds, and it's just gorgeous. But when we were here before, we didn't get to stay here because we were out looking for a giant fuse that we had blown. This time we were here 3 nights. We haven't left,
No.
other than on our bikes, riding and exploring. We haven't left the park. So, we hope you've enjoyed our look at Palmetto State Park. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.